This is the Jess Walhoff Broadcasting Network on air, a podcast about trail and ultra running, but really, it's about becoming who you are meant to be. I'm your host, Jess Walhoff, inviting you into conversations about resilience, wonder, and the quiet magic of putting one foot in front of the other. Out on the trail, we learn to move our mountain, not by force, but by presence and persistence. And in that movement, we find joy in the journey. Hey guys, welcome back to the JWBN On Air podcast. Today's episode, I'm just going to go a little bit, I was going to do a little bit race report, but then it also made me think, actually, I want to talk a little bit about Run Club, because we had a race today, and that's put on by the Sioux Falls Area Running Club. So a little bit about what went on today race-wise was that there was the Camden Trail Series, or Camden Trail Race, which is part of the Run Club Trail Race Series. So Camden Trail Race, part of the Run Club Trail Race Series. Camden Trail Race takes place at Camden State Park in Minnesota. It's technically part of, I think, Lynn, Minnesota, which is up by Marshall, Minnesota. So it's about an hour and a half drive from Sioux Falls. So a little bit of a trek for the Sioux Falls people, but it is a very beautiful state park in Minnesota. I actually grew up about 45-ish minutes south of there, and my family would go up there usually in the fall for a day hike. We didn't do too much camping or anything there, but usually a fall day hike, because once the foliage starts changing, very beautiful. But I mean, even today we didn't have high humidity, like dew point was in the 50s. Air temp was probably around the 60s, so it was a beautiful day for a run. And everything's just nice and green there, so how the sunlight was streaming through the trees, and then you have the dirt and you have the grass, and it's just beautiful state park. So beautiful place. With this race, we're able to put it on because a club member, Josh Anderson, he actually lives in, I think, Cottonwood, so in the Marshall area, but he's a member of the Sioux Falls Area Running Club, emphasis on the area of Sioux Falls, and he had the vision and the want to put this race on and run it with the club. And Nate, who is our club president and kind of the founder of the Trail Race Series, has this want to, expand the trail races to within the area and have lots of little destination, and so we get out and explore the trails, and also not have to be in charge of every single race that we put on either. So he's been connected with Josh, and Josh helped us put it on last year and again this year. So Josh's vision with this race, there's a good trail system that they have there. There's actually Nordic ski trails, or at least signs for Nordic ski trails. So I think in the winter they might do some grooming, or at least their signs imply so. And then there's also horse trails there, and then there's some mountain bike trails there. And Josh utilizes the hiking. I think the mountain bike trails are used partially, and then the horse trail, all-purpose trails. And so it's pretty much all dirt. You hop across or on the pavement, just a scotch here and there to get across a bridge and whatnot. But he has three distances offered at this race: a 3, 7, and a 10. And it's interesting because the 3 mile is kind of set within the 7 mile loop. And so the 10 mile runs both the 3 mile and the 7 mile loop. So they start the 10 mile and the 3 mile together. They run the 3 mile loop, and then we reset just one sign in one place where I was standing. Yay, I get to stand in direct traffic. And then they start the 7 miles 15 minutes later, and they'd get the 3/4 mile down the road to where I was standing. And instead of taking a left, they hang a right. Meanwhile, the 10 miles are out running. They come in with the 3s, but then they have to go back out through the start finish. They run that same first 3/4 mile that they did to get to me, and then this time they hang a right instead of a left and do like 2-ish more miles before they see me again. And then again, they get to go up another hill that they went up once already. And then instead of finishing the 3 mile loop, they continue on and add on like another 2-ish miles with the 7 mile loop. And then they loop back into the start finish area. So it's an interesting kind of race course that way, that you do a loop within a loop for the 10s, but then you also have the 3s and the 7s. So that's kind of how the Trail Race Series is that they offer that shorter beginner friendly distance, and then most of our races I'm going to say kind of that medium distance, and then a couple of them have a little bit longer distance. We're not going into the half marathons or ultras yet, and the goal isn't really there to go that far with these races, but they're kind of more that beginner friendly entry level race, or take it to that next step. And it's actually been great at Trail Series to use for training, say for another fall race like Glacier Hills. Sign up for Glacier Hills. And that's kind of been Nate's vision. I know just with talk and following along with the Black Hills running community, how their runners club does. They have a trail race series as well, and they have a race like almost every other weekend. And you know, that would be like the dream. Maybe that's a little bit too much, but that would kind of be like the dream, is to be able to offer races a little bit more frequently within the area, because we do have a lot of trail systems adjacent to Sioux Falls or within Sioux Falls, and it's just a lot for especially one person to do. So that's why Nate has been able to incorporate John Branson putting on Oak Grove Deer Dash, which is down by Hayward, and that race we did in June, and that offered a 3.5, 7.5, and 12.5 mile race. And then he has Josh helping out with Camden now, and then Nate is in charge of putting on the next two kind of by himself, aka with the run club help and volunteers. And our next one will be end of September, and that is at Big Sioux Rec, which is outside of Brandon, right next to Sioux Falls here. That has a 2 and a 6 mile race. And then we also have one at Newton Hills State Park, and that is the OG race. That was started, we are actually going into our 25th year of putting on the Run Club Newton Hills Trail Race. I think, based off conversations I've had with people who have been around for a while, that one started out actually as an 8 mile race, and it's since come to a 6 and a 2 mile race. And again, that was the OG Sioux Falls Run Club race, started 25 years ago, and then founded by Scott, who was also our kind of founding club member president. And then once Scott moved out of the area, Nate's kind of taken over a lot of the role of president and overseeing everything with the Sioux Falls Area Run Club, and he's done a great job. But then he's also developed kept that Newton Hills Trail Race Series going, but then developed what we call the Trail Race Series, and this is actually our 10th year of the Trail Race Series. I think he maybe started out with maybe 3 trail races, and now we're putting on 4 trail races a year. I think, he wouldn't mind, and I think a lot of people wouldn't mind seeing it grow to a couple more races, but again, it's hard to put that all on Nate to run the show for everyone. So if you have a trail that you want to put on a trail race at, maybe reach out to Nate in the Run Club. If you want to take over kind of race directing a race. Again, they're smaller races, so you don't have to go the 10 mile. You can stick it to 6 or 8 max, and have a shorter distance, that beginner friendly distance as well. But if you have a trail that you really love and want to take over a trail race, you should talk to Nate in the Running Club, because we kind of circle through our races. So John has been great and been putting on the Deer Dash, I think the last 4 or 5 years or so, and then Josh coming in with Camden. So we're always going to try keep those two. If those two guys are going to stick with us, we can keep those 2 races on our schedule, which is great. And then we always keep Newton Hills on our schedule because that's the OG. So we always got to go down to Newton Hills. So that leaves us with trying to put on our September race. And since people have to travel a bit to Haywarden, is like just over an hour drive, with Marshall, the Camden Trail Race being like an hour and a half from Sioux Falls, and Newton Hills is a good solid half-hour plus drive from Sioux Falls too. We try to keep our other 4th race in the Sioux Falls area. So like last year, we put on one at Great Bear, This year it's going on at Big Sioux Rec, which is, again, adjacent Sioux Falls here. And then in the past, we have done one at Tut Hill, not to be confused with the Tut Hill 50K. We put on a I think it was maybe it was a 3 and a 6 mile trail race at Tut Hill, utilizing the fast trails within the system there. And then in the past, we have put one on at Union Grove State Park, which is south of Beersford. And I'm trying to think if that's all the races without cheating and looking up, if that's all the places we've put races on. And then we've partnered with some other people. A store that shall not be named puts one on at my favorite park. And that's part of our Trail Point series. So we have a point series as well based on age group. So say you're a 45-year-old woman, you're in the 40 to 49-year-old age group. If you're the first person in that age group to cross the finish line for the 7 mile distance, you get 10 points. If you were second, you were 9 points, and so on. So subtract 1 point for every place. But that also goes if you were the first person in 3 mile distance and you're in the 40 age group, you'd also get 10 points. So just a little point series. Whoever has the most points at the end essentially is the Trail Series champ. We have the men and the women. And very cool, I think it's very cool, award that they're given is this nice big picture frame of their favorite race course. Just that kind of, I'm going to say the Strava outline, but the Strava outline map of the race course. So that's pretty cool, I think, in my opinion, that you get if you win the Trail Series. So the biggest thing with that, drawing off of last week's podcast, is consistency, showing up for all the races within the point series. So we have our 4 races that we put on, plus the one put on by the store last weekend that I won't name. And then new this year is down in Sioux City. I think it's the Mount Lucia. It's a 5-mile trail race put on down in Sioux City that's partnering with us. So that one looks kind of, trail-wise, I'm not sure what to expect from it. But swag-wise, I think Kyle's been doing a lot of work. And the first 100 people that show up or sign up for that one gets like this handmade pottery mug, which looks very cool and just very unique and authentic. So I think that's a race, if you're into those shorter distances of trails, to check out just for the swag alone. But also, I think Kyle's been doing some good things in the Sioux City area with the running community there. So I think that would be a cool thing to check out as well. And that race will be the first weekend of October. So we'll have our Big Sioux race the last weekend of September. Mount Lucia is down in Sioux City the first weekend of October, and the following weekend of October is the Newton Hills 2 and 6 mile trail race, part of the Run Club series. So that's 3 trail races, 3 weekends in a row. Again, you can choose from like 2 or 6 miles for our races, and then a 5-mile at Mount Lucia, and they have a free kids race at Mount Lucia. I think we'll have a free kids race at Big Sioux Rec as well. So again, if you got trails you want to have a race on or take over hosting a race for Nate, I'm sure he'd be all ears and willing to teach the ropes. As a race director now, with my 5 other race directors, there's 6 of us that it takes to put on a 50K. I joke, but it's not a joke. Everything we learned from Nate Schwab. So he can definitely show you the ropes on how to set up a great race. And yeah, today went out without a hitch, I think. We had a beautiful day out there. Don't think we lost anybody. The course was well marked from what I could see. And we did have enough volunteers out there. I think it was the marshal. There's some cross-country kids that showed up to volunteer, which was great. So they were helping with race directing, and then one of the kids swept the course as well for us. So that was fantastic, and got to see just a little bit of the course myself with Andy before some weird thing happened behind my knee. I don't know what's going on. So I had to be done. Did get in a nice long walk after when I got home though. But we'll see what happens with the knee thing. At least I can walk. But yeah, that's a little bit about the trail series and the trail race. Um, the Run Club also puts on adjacent, I think it's adjacent with the Sioux Falls Parks and Recs Association, free kids cross country races throughout the month of September. There are 3 Wednesdays in a row. I don't think it's the first Wednesday, but the next 3 Wednesdays in a row at Morningside Park, which is just off of Bonson over here in 33rd area. Um, there's free kids cross country races. I think it's like a 400-meter dash for the youngest kids, and then it's like a 400-meter dash, 400-meter run for the youngest kids, like an 800-meter run for like the middle group, and then the oldest 2 grades, if I think that's fifth and sixth or fourth and fifth grades, they run a mile. So it just happens in Morningside Park. The 400-meter is pretty much a straight shot. They bring the kids over there and, hey, run back here, get your popsicle. The 800 is a loop, and then the 16 or the mile, they do 2 loops. And that's been fun to volunteer and ring a cowbell at and high five some kids. And you see some kids go really hard at it, and some kids, they're doing it, and some kids just have fun, and some kids aren't, but again, they're doing it. So good on them for doing that. Free popsicles for them at the finish. And I think Nate's been working on some swag and stuff for them too, which is fun. A little bit about the races that the Run Club puts on. All the money we raise, so Run Club is a non-profit association, so we just keep a little bit of money in our piggy bank, but then the majority of the money that we raise after all the expenses are paid off for the races, we've been donating the last number of years to FAST, so the Falls Area Single Track, which has been building the single track trails within town, pretty much within city limits. I think they started way over on the west side with, again, we were on the west side, and then there's Leaders Park that they're in charge of. They're the ones that put in the trails at Tut Hill, and then also the expansion that they're doing at Great Bear. So we, whenever that was that 2018-ish, that I think they finished or started the whole Tut Hill project. That's kind of when we started donating a lot to them, and then so that helped with that project. And now with the Great Bear, our donations are going more that way. Well, that's where they want the money anyway. FAST does whatever they want with our money, but that we give them. But there's an idea of where our money goes. And I say we, I don't know if I said that. I'm part of the Run Club board. One of the hats I wear. Not a big job. I just kind of said, yeah, I guess I took over leading one of their group runs after a couple of years after Scott had left, and have kept it going, revived it. And so I guess they gave me a title of like group run ambassador, but I just lead out the group runs out at Good Earth State Park 6 p.m. every Thursday, and then supply some popsicles afterwards. So it's a good time, but then try to be at some other group runs I'm not able to make. We're doing a group run on Wednesdays until the end of September at Great Bear at 5:30 to coincide with Great Bear's Chill at the Hill, where they have a food truck come in, and they might have yard games out there, and they might have live music and fun things just going on. And then I don't know if that's through FAST or if that's through FAB, but they've been having some mountain bike races once a month out there on that Wednesday as well. So lots going on at Great Bear. It's a fun place to be too. But yeah, so that's a little bit about what the Run Club puts on, where our funds kind of go with the Trail Race Series. We don't require memberships to hang out with us, but we do have memberships. I do believe it's like $15 for an individual, and I think there's something very cheap for a family if you wanted to sign up as a family. And that's just yearly. And what you get for 15 bucks is if you sign up for our Trail Series races, if you sign up for all 4, you can get a discount price, or there's a discount coupon if you're a member to sign up for the races. And I think you pretty much easily you earn back all $15 of your membership just if you sign up for the Trail Series races. So pretty easy to earn back your $15 if you want to be a member and save on trail races. Otherwise, we do a members only social in January, February-ish in the winter, and do some raffling and having free food and a good time. The last couple of years we've done that at Vinyl Taco, so there's also games going and such. So it's been a good time to hang out. So that alone, again, you earn back your $15 there. But then again, whatever is in our funds, again, goes to FAST and goes to putting on those free kids cross-country races. So helping support our community and build more trails and encourage the young generation to get out there. So good causes to go with, just a few simple $15 if you can afford it to be a member. But like I said, you don't have to be a member to run with us, but you should, because it's cool. And that's all the peer pressure I'll give you to be a member. And there's just a handful of us that serve on the board. So like I said, Nate kind of runs the whole show and has been since Scott left, back in 18 or something like that. Prior to that, Scott had, I think, ran the whole show since the club started back in, I think it was 1998 that the club started. So we've been around for a few years now. I guess we're almost up to 30. 2 more years to go for that, which that's big. But yeah, 25 years of putting on the Newton Hills Trail Race and 10 years of putting on our Trail Race Series. So big things, consistency and growing, and big things to come, hopefully. But yeah, Nate has taken over the reins leading the show. And then Chelsea is kind of second in command and keeps us in line, and she does fantastic with that. And then Pete is an at-large member, but he steps in. He's got smarts and has helped with leading our Chill at the Hill event, and he's just an all-around nice guy too. And then Jeff has started joined the board, I think last year. Again, smart insights from him too. I think he's an at-large member too. So we all just kind of get our hands dirty with wherever Nate and Chelsea need us to go, and do their bidding with what we can. So just a kind of little hands-on all deck of just the 5 of us trying to figure out what we're doing and keep the club semi-organized. So if you want to join the club, again, just reach out to Sioux Falls Area Running Club. Our meetings aren't a secret. I mean, it's very hard for us to schedule time sometimes to meet. We do try to meet once in a while in person, but usually it's like a Google Meets, just to get things knocked out. But if you ever want to sit in on a meeting, again, just email Run Club, and I'm sure we can give you a link to join our secret, not so secret Google Meets meeting if you want in and have any want on being part of the board. We would seek out help if you want to be in charge of membership, or I think our financial chair maybe has stepped down, event organizing and planning, those types of things. Social media, we all kind of just, we as in mostly me and Nate, just kind of swap some Canva ideas and do what we can on social media to keep that rolling and keep you guys entertained and informed that way. And so if you got social media skills, marketing skills, we wouldn't mind that help either. Or like I said, so me and Nate learning Canvas skills. I've learned so much too, just being part of the board. I don't quite understand the whole bylaws and such, but I've been sitting in on meetings, and hey, we have to act by our bylaws. So being consistent and learning that way. So learning some legal stuff, but then also learning a lot of, I'm going to call it marketing. But because of the Run Club, I've learned how to utilize Canva, and I think I've done pretty okay at learning Canvas skills. So that's been fun, learning new skills because of the Run Club. And like I said, Nate has taught me everything I know about race directing, and because of that, I actually know how to run ultra sign up. That's a lot of thanks to John, or just asking questions and clicking buttons and see what happens. But I know how to run ultra sign up on the back end, working with vendors, still learning that part, but still working with vendors and ordering products, shopping for a race. That's fun. not, well, it is fun because it's not your money technically you're spending, it's the race's money. But trying to figure out proportions of how much to get for everything. And then all the planning that goes on behind the race. There's so much you guys don't know that goes on behind race directing. And I've learned so much just because of the Run Club, which has been great. So again, if you want to just learn things, the Run Club's a great place to be. Like I said, just show up to a group run and you learn so much. I'm going to say my first ever group run I did was, I'm going to call it the old school group run, that met at Lincoln High School on Saturdays at like 6 o'clock in the morning, and they did their 10-mile route. I maybe got left behind, but I had a friend with me who had invited me, so we did find our way back. But that's okay. I made my way back there, and I mean, just all those people, all the things you learn from life, but then racing, like I was training for my first marathon when I ran that, so I learned so much information racing wise, training wise, and then that only continued as you go to like group runs on the trail. So if you want to run a trail race or wants to run an ultra marathon or something like that, come to a group run on the trails where you can learn from people who have done things. You know, not everything works for everybody, but at least you get exposure to so much experience and ideas instead of just the same thing that your Instagram algorithm is just going to feed you the same thing over and over again. More experiences and exposure to those experiences and just getting your feet on the trail is a big step. I don't know how many people have trained for ultras and they just run on the bike trail, and that's so much different than getting onto the Centennial Trail in the Black Hills or anything else. So come find those groups. We're not the scariest of people. Try not to be scary. I am an introvert, so I will hang out with the people I know, but I try to be nice and say hi and at least remember your name. That's the hardest thing, is remembering names. But I always make sure everybody finds their way home. I have not lost a person on a group run yet. So I will confidently get you back to your car with a popsicle if you come to one of my group runs. But that's just a little bit about, again, Camden Trail Race went on today. Again, great job to everybody that was out there. You all finished. We didn't lose anybody. And it was a beautiful morning for it. So a little bit about Camden, a little bit about a trail race series, and then a little bit about the Run Club. There's a lot more to the Run Club in depth, again, that a lot of it sometimes is over my head. Again, I'm just try to be a voice of reason, but just learn so much there. So reach out to the Sioux Falls Area Run Club if you ever wants to be part of this. Again, we're not scary people or exclusive people. We're just people trying to get this thing in line a little bit and keep the ship floating and running. So yeah, all these fun things. And again, it's you don't have to be a member, so it is technically free, but you should be a member because it's fun. And money goes to a good cause. And I think that's all I got. So that's what I'm going to sign off with. Check out the Sioux Falls Area Run Club. Check out our last 2 races and our partner race of the series. And while you're checking out races, check out Glacier Hills Ultra on November 7th. Down at Newton Hills State Park, we have a 20K, 30K, and 50K distance. And we have pancakes and bacon during the race and at the finish line. And I will have an episode coming out sometime when I get my ducks somewhat gathered about more details for that race. But check that one out too. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Have a good one.
This has been a JWBN production. Thanks for listening.